Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hungry People Podcast. Here's your boy, Michael Patrick Buckley, and we have a special guest today. It's one of my online Canadian friends, Richard Arsenault on Prince Edward Island. I think that's where you are. But we talk a lot through Instagram, and he actually had his account hacked, so I'm glad you got it back and you're rolling here. But seriously, it's just been great to have awesome conversations with you and to really inspire each other to eat healthy, to move our bodies, to stay hydrated, and just to be the best people possible. So it's been a blast staying in touch with you and having great conversation. And welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks, MP. It's a pleasure to be on here. I've been listening to the podcast for a while now, and always been a true fan of yours and the
Thank you.
online presence there.
Right. No, I
so
apprecian that.
can't wait to meet in real person. But
Yeah, exactly. That's
this is
definitely
good for now.
right. I mean, I think you were kind of barricaded because of the stuff that's been going on in the world. Has that been better over there where you are?
Yeah, it's gotten better. I mean, yeah, of course I would have probably seen you at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, but
Right.
I could have went, but it sounded kind of complicated coming back into Canada. So I was just like,
Right.
and I had a new job thing in the
Hmm.
summer. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait one more year. So
No, I don't blame you. Do you
but
plan on going to Woodstock this year?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I messaged him actually not long ago. I was like, are you guys doing the Florida thing? Like,
Yeah,
and
right.
when is it gonna be? Because I just want to go so bad. Like, it's
Right.
especially after everything's been lifted for
Hmm.
traveling and stuff.
That's great.
Makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that I can get down there. It's just gonna align with my schedule because I go to Florida every year with an individual who has a disability, and I take care of him.
Right.
I take care of
Yeah.
him for like 2 weeks, and if it aligns and like maybe Woodstock's like a week after I'm down there, like I'll definitely stay and go. So I'm hoping it works out. It would just be like tough if I fly down there and then fly back and then fly back and like 2 weeks later. It just kind of would be like weird. But yeah, it would definitely be great to go again. And I'm sure it's gonna be awesome down in Florida and new
Oh
experience,
yeah.
new experience. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of different people down there too who are going. So I would love to go. But
You're a bit of a drive away, eh?
yeah, dude, it'd probably take a day drive. I mean, I can maybe do it in like 18, 19 hours if I went straight, but even still,
Yeah.
it's and not even that. I've just done so much driving this past year. My car, I feel like it's taken a hit on my car a little bit. And I have a Honda Accord. It's pretty legit, but even still, it's in my mind. I'm like, if I can save like an 18-hour drive and just fly, like let's do it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully it'll be better than you won't have to take, like New York, yet if you fly in, you got to take all this long shuttle up there, and
yeah, right,
it kind of, cuts your time a little shorter because
right.
you got to take the shuttle down. So hopefully it's closer to the airport somehow.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I think they're actually still looking for a venue, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I don't. I actually I saw an email where they were asking if anyone had if they knew any places or whatnot. So I'm sure they're asking around. They're looking. I can imagine it's probably pretty tough because especially in Florida. I mean, I guess in February it's not too bad, but like
Hmm.
I couldn't imagine like camping outside in Florida in general. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
like that
it's
doesn't
gonna be a
sound.
difference.
Yeah, right. 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 Matter of fact, when I was down there in January, it was like 35, 40 degrees some evenings. I was actually really surprised. I was like, damn,
Oh yeah.
I came to Florida for this. No.
Yeah. That's pretty chilly in Fahrenheit for
Yeah,
sure.
right. Oh yeah, you're Celsius, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that conversions.
Well,
I don't.
it's down there anyways.
Yeah, right. Right. Cool. Well, yeah, so let's get into this, man. So you've been vegan for how long?
It'll be 6 years this January, so
Oh,
coming up
wow.
6 years.
So you're
Yeah.
what is it? New Year's resolution baby like I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah,
Because
something like that.
yeah, right. Because for me it'll be 5 years in January.
Right.
Cool. Well, yeah, what got you into the lifestyle, the journey?
Well, it all started with, you know, back, I guess, January 15th, around, I can't remember what year, but almost
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ex at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she had watched a documentary on, it was on Netflix, but now I think it's just on YouTube.
Hmm.
It was called Food Choices.
Okay. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It kind of touches on everything,
Yeah.
it's not just so focused on one thing, but
Right.
and she had watched it, and then at the time I had started going to the gym, and I was taking some protein powders and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
you know and
Doing the thing.
not, yeah, not that I was doing it like heavy, where I was like, I never counted anything. I wasn't like going hard on the protein and all this stuff and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
whatnot. But in the documentary, it talked about protein intake and high amounts of protein, especially from animal sources, And so I think that's kind of what she wanted me to watch it for, is
Hmm.
that kind of thing. But
Okay.
she told me later she was pretty much already convinced. She had followed some YouTubers on that, and
Yeah.
the vegan lifestyle resonated with her, right?
Hmm.
So of course, if you're with somebody, you kind of want to see their take on it. And
Yeah, no doubt.
I never really thought about, my aunt is vegetarian. It's probably the only person in my family that's living a different lifestyle other than your general diet or whatever.
Right. Right. Right.
So I heard about that, but I didn't really, look into it as much as I could
Hmm.
have, and especially not veganism. I had not really any idea about it. Probably
Right.
knew what it was, but I guess I just never put any thought towards it, or didn't know
Right.
anybody that was vegan, right? So I watched a documentary, and sure enough, like when it was done, I was like, it just makes perfect sense. I've always looked for ways to be healthier. And
Hmm.
I mean, it basically showed me all of the reasons. And so I pretty much looked at her. I said, "Do you want to go vegan?" And she's like, "Yeah."
So wait,
So
both of you did it.
yeah,
Okay, so
we
she
did it at
what?
the same time.
Oh, so she wasn't vegan before then, but now okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now,
No.
are you still
So
dating this girl or no? This is
no, that was ended in 2018.
okay.
But
Now,
we were together for about 5 years or so.
oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know if she's still vegan or
Oh yeah, she's definitely vegan for
Oh,
sure.
okay. She's like
Yeah.
hardcore about it.
Yeah, I don't think she would change. She wouldn't. She hasn't given me any indication that she would. She was pretty
Yeah.
solid on it.
Right.
So
Right. That's
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it was pretty much a just kind of finish off the stuff we had for the week,
Right. Yeah,
for the next
right.
week. And then once we have nothing, we don't rebuy anything. And
Right.
we gave some stuff away that we didn't really care too much about. And
Hmm.
that's going to sit there. And after that, never looked back, and
Nice.
never really craved anything or thought about it. It
That's
was
cool.
just easy as it is. Like, I mean, for me, I feel lucky because it's not that easy for everybody.
Yeah, right.
To me, it was just the switch flicked,
Yeah.
and I
That's cool.
just
Yeah, dude,
went from there.
some people are like, dude, I could never give up eating meat, or I could never give up cheese, or I could never give up dairy, or I can never give up
Mm,
all that kind of stuff. And you think like, I mean, you can do that. I think the least that they could do is limit it to some extent. Even though it's crazy nowadays, we see people doing like carnivore diet and keto diet and stuff, and it's almost like that sounds so backwards. And there's so many different theories and philosophies of eating out there and whatnot. But I myself and I like just like you said, I've never had any craving. I'm assuming that they potentially would, but there's a ton of vegan alternatives out there and whatnot. But yeah, it is funny that everyone says that. They're like, "Oh, I could never do that," and I even said that too, and here I am, right?
yeah.
But how was that transition for you? Going into veganism, like, did you happen to do research on getting enough nutrition, getting enough vitamins and minerals or whatnot, or is it just kind of like on the fly? You're like, well, I'm gonna buy this is vegan, I'm gonna buy that's vegan. Oh, fruit's vegan. Oh, vegetables,
Yeah.
that's vegan. Like, I think people make it harder than it sounds, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
really not. I mean, you go to a grocery store, it's 65%, 70 stuff, 70% of stuffs in there is probably vegan. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe not actually. I don't know about that. Maybe like 50. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I would agree.
yeah, so was that transition? How was that transition for you?
I mean, it was pretty. I didn't really do too much research. I mean, I looked into it a little bit. Okay, what,
Yeah,
I started being more aware of the ingredients and stuff, of course. I
right.
mean, you're gonna look at the label, which I think is an amazing thing, because the more you learn, the more you want to be health conscious. You kind of find certain things that, even if it's vegan, I'm just kind of like, I don't really like those two ingredients, so you kind of avoid that. So you just kind of move
Yeah,
from there,
I
right?
have a lot. I have a lot to say on that. We could probably do a whole episode
Yeah.
just on that. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, I just watch documentaries, and some were about health and whatnot.
hmm
And other than that, like, I mean, I don't really remember doing too much research on, am I going to get enough this? It was basically just finding out what type of foods and what's in it for vitamins and all these things,
Right,
and minerals, and just trying to be like, okay, well, you know grab some of those if those are high in this and
right.
whatnot. But I mean, like you just said about the grocery store, I mean, most people already eat 50% vegan, I'd
Yeah,
say.
right, right.
Like, generally speaking, I'd say
Yeah,
everybody's eting already half vegan. They just
yeah,
don't
right.
realize,
They just have
if
no
not
clue.
more. I'd almost go to
Yeah,
70% sometimes, because
right,
you might have a little piece of chicken, but then you got potatoes and you got veggies, and
right,
the dessert might be a pie, but most of the pie is vegan, except for maybe that little bit of egg that was in the batter or
right,
something.
right.
So, I mean,
No,
it's
you're definitely right. I mean, I'd say a
yeah,
lot of the population does pretty much eat plant-based, but now it's kind of like, what sort of plant-based eating are they doing?
right.
So you can eat pretzels, and you can eat chips, and you can eat, which I love chips. I know you love chips too. I'll eat chips. Like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Maybe I shouldn't say chips, but like, there's a lot of bullshit out there that
yeah.
that is plant-based, but may not necessarily be as healthy as another food, as such as fruits, vegetables, the like. Um, but yeah, so that's really cool. Now, um, oh, I wanted to ask you. So yeah, the raw. How'd you get into like the raw stuff and what's the Woodstock community? Like, how'd you hear about that?
Well, it was actually at the first Canada Fruit Festival. So I was working out west, and
Oh,
I had been vegan for a few years at that point. I think
yeah.
it was 2018 that the first Canada Fruit Fest was, in the summer. And I think, well, that's 4 or 5. So yeah, I would have been like 2016 or something like that I went vegan
hmm
ish. So, anyways, I was working out west, and I was in Alberta, and the Canada Fruit Fest was in BC. It was about maybe a 12-hour drive or something like that. I don't know how it came up on my Instagram or whatever it was. And I seen this Canada Fruit Festival, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that sounds pretty cool. Like, and it was like based off a lot of vegans are going and whatnot, and fruits and all these things. And I was just like, you know what? I'm booking the time off, and I'm just gonna go there and and see what it's all about.
that's awesome.
And so I drove there, and yeah, that's kind of where I learned about raw veganism and stuff like that, raw foods.
Okay.
Because I mean, other than your raw vegetables that you might dip in ranch, you're not really you just kind of still boil the vegan
Right.
ranch, vegan ranch.
Yeah, right. Right.
you know,
Uh well, it's actually funny you mentioned that, because on an episode that I did with AJ a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was myself actually, I mentioned how, some people, like, the only way they get vegetables in is by the raw carrots and raw celery that come with the wings.
yeah,
And you can actually look at it as, like, if you look at it from like a cleansing perspective, you say, oh well, like, the carrots and celery are there for a reason, right? You eat the carrots and celery, and that like sort of preps your body for what's coming in next, and then maybe you could utilize the chicken wing, I guess, better. I don't know. Just, it could be all bullshit or just theories, but
yeah.
um
Well, you're
yeah.
right. It's kind of funny how when they serve the chicken wings and all that, that comes with raw veggies. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
right.
like they're
It's
really
interesting.
good to the shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So have you ever done raw veganism at some point in time?
So kind of after I went to the first fruit festival,
Yeah.
at some point, I think later towards the end of summer or fall, I don't know, I had some time off, and I did like about, was it 15 days? I was trying to do 30 days raw.
Yeah.
Well, just mostly fruits actually.
Hmm.
It was just like juicy fruits. There wasn't really much veggies. It was basically just like, I don't know, this like fasting thing that this guy was hosting, and it was just 30 days fruits. And I did it for about 15 days, and then I don't know, like I kind of fell off of it.
Yeah. Well,
But
how'd you or
it
go
was
ahead?
pretty easy.
Yeah,
It
really.
was easy
Yeah.
to get to that point, but then
Yeah.
after it just kind of hit a wall and I went the other way.
Right.
But and I felt awesome, you know.
Did you?
But yeah, and I still like the whole raw thing, but I've tried here and there. Like I try to eat some more raw foods, but
Hmm.
you know, and I've tried a few times going for a week at a time and then
Hmm.
go back and stuff like that. But it just hasn't like stuck for me for some
Right.
reason. But I still resonate with it to some degree, right? And I still
Yeah.
think it's powerful, and lots of people that I know personally do it and are successful at it.
Hmm.
So I'm still trying to, you know, sometimes I think about it, but sometimes I'm
Right.
like, I don't know, potatoes, beans,
Yeah,
noodles.
right. So not that like obviously we're not nutritionists or whatnot, but would you like recommend raw veganism to somebody? Like would you say that that's like a healthy lifestyle, and that's like that you can pretty much get everything you need from something like that?
I definitely would. I definitely would recommend it. And I mean, I think for most people, it would be easier to just start small
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and work your way up to it.
work your way up to it, because I think it's too much of a jump to go straight into it, depending
Yeah.
on where you're coming from. But
Right.
some people can do it, and I think a lot of it can also come with the mindset, right? It
Hmm.
depends where you're at, how much you want this, and all these things, you know, and what
Right.
kind of information you've gathered beforehand. But
Hmm.
I would definitely, like, I mean, I see tons of people that are doing it and sustain, but at the
Right.
same time, I think it's almost easier to just have a balance of the two
Totally.
kind of thing.
Right.
And
The
I
cooked
think
and the raw.
that's more sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So when you
For most, anyways.
yeah, for sure. So when you said that you did that 15-day challenge and then you said you went the other way, what was the other way? Is that like just eating whatever again or kind of thing, or what was that?
Yeah, just back to what I was eating before, like just anything vegan kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
So yeah, why don't
Yeah,
you tell us like what do you eat? So like you had breakfast, lunch, dinner, like what do you typically eat in a day?
right. So mostly, I mean, I do lots of oats and like frozen fruits usually because they're cheaper. I'm not gonna buy like fresh blueberries because they're super expensive unless they're
Right.
local and in season.
Yeah.
Then we'll buy the boxes usually.
Well, quick
But
tangent here. Speaking of blueberries at Costco, they just had organic blueberries. It was the same price as the conventional. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna dabble a little bit in them. So I got them, and they actually are. I mean, I didn't have any of these ones, but I had them
yeah,
like 2 weeks ago, and they are really good. Like I would never
nice.
just buy like berries or strawberries or raspberries or any of a berry. But recently I'm like, you know what? I think I should start doing that. Like actually like eating the whole fruit, and because like usually I just do frozen stuff, which I
Right.
love. I'm cool with that. It's fine. But I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start working and try it out. And it's been good.
Well,
Um,
you just gotta go with, you know, right now this is how you're feeling about it, and you just
yeah,
kind of wanting to try it out. And
yeah,
sometimes I'm the same, right? I'll see certain things depending on the price and if it's
right,
organic or if it looks better, if it's a good deal. I just usually it's like the quantity that you get for the
right.
price is like so little
Yeah, it's
compared to
crazy.
frozen that
Yeah, exactly.
doesn't feel right.
Right.
But
Especially if you're like adding it to a smoothie or adding it to oats. I mean, if you're doing that, then you might as well just get the frozen stuff,
yeah.
It's way more cost efficient. But anyways, as you were saying,
Yeah, so I think for me, the mornings, I mean, a huge staple that I just like, and it's filling
Yeah.
and it's easy. It's just literally oats in a bowl, a cup, maybe even 2 cups of oats. Um, I'll throw in a good couple cups of frozen blueberries in there.
Nice.
Um, what else? Maybe a little bit of maple syrup or chopped up dates, kind of something to sweeten it even more.
Heck yeah.
And
Heck yeah.
usually I would do like a plant-based milk, but I'm trying to stay away from that. I'm just not feeling it. And the price is just ridiculous for
Yeah.
especially the ones that I want. Like there's one that's like a 4 ingredient organic one. It's like $7 for 4 liters. I'm like, I'll just stick with water. I don't think
Yeah.
it's worth
Right.
the price, but maybe
Right.
the odd time I'll get some.
Right.
But I mean, it's just as good with water. I just throw
Yeah.
water in there. I might add a little bit of maca powder. Um, what else? Maybe a little bit of seeds, like sunflower seeds or something like that. It
Nice.
varies, but basically it's just like oats, blueberries, water,
Hmm.
maybe maple syrup or dates.
Cool.
Sometimes no maple syrup, and just stir it up, and I just eat it like that, like cold.
Oh, do you really?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I rather it that way than like
No way,
heating it up.
really?
The oats heated up, I find they're just too heavy in my stomach. It doesn't
Oh, wow.
digest properly. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so
Plus the cold wakes me up. Anything hot, I feel like just relaxes me, and I'm just like falling
yeah.
asleep.
Nice. So is that do you do like is it like an overnight oats kind of thing or do you just like in the morning you're just like, yeah, whatever, just make it now?
Oh yeah, I just make it now and eat it. Like I don't even let it soak. Sometimes I'll let it sit for a little bit, and then I add more water because it's so good. But oh yeah, just eat it straight.
Hey, whatever works for you, dude. If that's what you like, that's
Yeah.
awesome. If,
I like the
honestly,
taste of
maybe
it better.
yeah, maybe I gotta try that.
Yeah,
Matter of fact,
you
you know what I gotta
should.
make are oatmeal raisin cookies. I haven't. I gotta make some of those. Those are
Nice.
bomb.
Yeah,
Cool. So
well,
what about like lunch? What do you like to do for lunch?
so mostly lately, I mean, it's we got either like quinoa, like I just kind of find it easier to just throw everything in a pan. Like I might fry up some onions and garlic and
Yeah.
throw some quinoa in there. Either some um noodles like black bean spaghetti or something like that, or just like rice noodles, the
Yeah.
little like white or clear ones.
Yeah. You've been loving
And
those recently.
oh yeah. Yeah, just like chopped up veggies. We've been buying veggies from an organic farm not too far away.
Right.
um and like mostly like beets and stuff. What else? Zucchini that we grew, some tomatoes. Like I'll just throw the
Nice.
basic veggies together and just like make a stir fry.
That's cool.
Quinoa, I'll buy like dried beans, and I'll soak them overnight and then cook them the next day, make a big bulk batch.
Yeah.
Chickpeas. Chickpeas for sure.
That should be you should change your name from all about feeling good to like chickpea chugger or something or chickpea I'm trying to think of the chickpea chump or I'm trying to think of like something with C.
Chickpea chump. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I didn't usually go out of my way to buy chickpeas, but like I
Yeah.
love hummus. I'll eat hummus all day. Give me
Oh, for
pita and
sure.
hummus. Give me chips and hummus. Like I'll mash that. So it is ironic, not ironic, but AJ, I don't know. If he doesn't like chickpeas, whatever. Screw him, right?
Yeah, whatever. He can miss out if he wants. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
So, say the chickpea, but we can have
More
the chickpea.
chickpeas for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, it's just literally the basic veggies.
Right.
Throw it in, stir fries, beans, spaghetti kind of thing, like
Yeah.
noodles or whatever. Quinoa, a lot of quinoa and stuff like
That's
that.
cool. Is that kind of like what
Um,
your dinners are like too then?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, lunch
So
and
like
dinner pretty
bootables.
much the same. Yeah.
Right.
I
And
kind of
you
like that. It's just easy. You just kind of chop it all up, put it in a bowl. I throw a bunch of spices and sauce or whatever I
yeah.
got in the fridge, and I
Yeah.
just pour it in the pan after, it's heated up and
That's
just
great.
kind of
That's all
cook
you
it all
need.
together.
That's all you need,
Yeah.
right?
Lentils
uh,
as well. Lentils
yeah,
are always there.
cool. Do you now do you do 3 meals a day, or do you usually do two, or what do you
Sometimes
prefer?
it's two, but I'll try to get like three meals usually
Yeah,
in the day is what I
right.
would prefer, kind of thing. But sometimes it ends up to be two if I just ate breakfast at like noon or something like that. It all
Yeah, okay.
depends
Right.
if I'm hungry right in the morning.
Right. Schedules are crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Um so oh, what was it? Was I going to ask you about fitness? Cuz I mean, I've noticed that you've been getting like some really good results in the gym. Do you work out every morning?
Yeah, we were doing the evening, but I'm trying to switch to the morning because
Okay.
wintertime and you don't get much daylight after, 5 o'clock, even
Right.
4:30. So I want to maximize my daylight after I'm done work, kind of thing.
Right.
So trying to switch to the mornings just so it's hard to get up in the morning sometimes.
Yeah, I no, I hear you. I think with that, it's the way to fix it is just go to bed early. But it's
Yeah.
also hard to go to bed early too.
Oh yeah. I go to bed at 8 o'clock and
Yeah.
even sleep like 10 hours. I'm still just like,
Really? Hey, maybe your body needs it.
yeah, yeah. But you just gotta do the 5 4 3 2 1 and get your ass up.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
That's
But it
that's
feels
definitely it.
so much better the last 2 days going to the gym in the morning.
Really?
Like coming in and it's like it's done, and then it just feels
Right.
so much better and more productive
Yeah.
rather than feeling like you need to go after work, kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
And plus the Fridays our gym isn't open past 3. So there's a lot of times we forgot, and then it's
Yeah.
Friday, you get to the gym and I'm like, oh shit, it's closed.
It
I don't know.
sucks.
They just have weird hours. They don't have the
Right.
24-hour pass thing.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Well, wait, you
morning.
are. Oh yeah, morning's best.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
mornings better.
Right. I mean, you are on an island, correct?
Yeah.
Is your family from there, or is that like where you grew up?
Yeah, that's where I grew up. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind
I'm
of
from
cool.
here.
and
Yeah. Yeah. It's
you
getting
just
smaller, but
yeah, and you just, if I'm not mistaken, you just built a yurt, right?
yeah.
Dude, that is
That's why it looks
legit.
like I'm in a prison here.
Yeah, dude, that's legit. So how long did that take you?
um just to I mean, it took me a while to build the platform,
Yeah,
but I was working, so I was coming driving 45 minutes here back and forth after work, kind of thing, some nights, and then coming on the weekend.
right.
So it took me maybe a couple weeks or a month or whatever back and forth. But then just the yurt itself took a week. But if I would have had 3 solid days with at least 2 3 people, we could have got it done in those 3 days.
Dang.
But I mean, it's we kind of got some setbacks here and there
Right.
and whatnot. But
That's so
yeah,
cool. So
it's
like,
pretty basic.
does your family have like a construction business or something, or like how'd you learn about that stuff? Just kind of on your own, or
Yeah, just
really
myself.
just
Yeah.
really just kind of just like doing it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never really looked. I kind of look at stuff and it kind of seems pretty basic in some way, and just
Yeah.
kind of put it together and hope for the best. But
I mean, clearly, just from what I've seen on Instagram and
yeah,
whatnot, and you're clearly it's working out pretty dang well for
yeah.
you.
The yurt itself comes in a kit with a manual, so you follow the manual and stuff.
Okay.
But the platform, it's still, you got to build a 24-foot round platform that's going to handle all the weight and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you still got to, put like two double 2x10s together to make joists and then go crossways
Right.
and all that stuff. I don't know. I just looked at a little blueprint that they sent,
Yeah.
and it's pretty basic, and I just kind of did my own thing, but I could have done it a little differently from what I realized afterwards,
Right.
but it still didn't really impact too
Hmm.
much. It was just would have made it easier in the end, but it's
Nice.
pretty solid.
That's cool. Is it just like one big room then?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's
So
just one big room,
it's
yeah.
kind of like a studio apartment kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I can I can wrap the computer around
Yes, I guess if
People
you're
want to
on
see it.
if you're watching this on YouTube, Richard is now showing us his yurt.
Oh, yeah. Hold my.
That's pretty cool. If you're listening to this on the Apple Podcast or Buzzsprout or whatnot, that's unfortunate because this is a pretty cool looking yurt, dude. Nice. Nice. That's really, it's really all you need. Nice little space.
Couldn't see if you guys could see, but I mean,
Yeah, it's perfect. No, that's great, dude. You did a pretty damn good job.
That's the trick. I mean, it was just something that when I bought the property, I just knew that I was gonna build a tiny house or something small, right?
Right.
And I just didn't know what to do at first. I just kind of started clearing a driveway in a spot because it was just wooded land.
Uh-huh.
I just picked up a chainsaw. I didn't know how to run one and just figured it out, and away you go.
Pretty good, dude.
But
it's pretty good.
eventually I seen yurts, and then I was like, that's kind of cool. I like the fact that it's unique, it's round,
Yeah.
and there's not that many people that have any on the
Right.
island. Later found out that there was a few on the island. I was like, oh, it's not as special anymore.
Right. No, that's cool though.
No, it's
that's
still
cool.
awesome. It's still
Right.
awesome.
Right. Cool. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you a question about like animal activism and whatnot. Have you done any yourself?
Yeah, I've done some, especially at the start when I went vegan.
Yeah.
For the following 2-3 years or so, I've kind of slacked off of it a bit. Like, I mean, I went to a few, like one protest, like what is it called? Anonymous for the
The
Voiceless.
voiceless? Yeah.
Yeah. I went to one in Edmonton,
Okay.
and when I was out there, actually Lissa was living in Edmonton, Lissa and Nate.
Oh yeah.
She
The
was
raw
living
food
there.
romance. Yeah,
Right, raw
right.
food romance.
Right.
And I happened to message her and I said that I was going. And she said, oh, well, if you're going, I'll go too. So we both went. And that was because I had met her at the Canada Fruit Festival.
Yeah.
And then we both went. That was her first time at that kind of event.
Nice.
Now I can't remember. I think I had joined a group or so before that, but I ended up starting my own chapter because we were the only province that didn't have a chapter. All the other provinces had an organization with that with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I started it, and I did it for like a summer kind of thing. And then winter came. You can't really do those in the winter. It's pretty cold, and
yeah, right.
I mean, the island's pretty small, so but we still had some conversations and stuff like that.
Right.
Still making an impact, but
yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you.
What was
It's
that?
like, that's what I want to ask you is like, do you think that it actually works? Like, do you think people actually go vegan because of that?
So I wouldn't know if people go fully vegan. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have in the history of a vegan activism. There's definitely tons of people that have done it, but I think it's mostly just planting a seed.
Right.
And then it sprouts from there. You might see once you're introduced to it, you're kind of more prone to end up seeing it and learn and hearing more about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then things start to pop up in front of you because you've learned about it to some degree. It's kind of like when you buy a car and all of a sudden you see the same car all the time, but you haven't noticed it before. But so other than that, I mean, it's I've done that, and then I jumped out of it, and then we were part of different I was part of a different little group, and we went and helped out a sanctuary 4 hours away on the mainland there.
Wow.
And we tried to organize a few little protests and different things like that, and just within the province, I guess.
Right.
Mostly at the capital in the city, because other than that, you don't really get much foot traffic.
Right.
And that's kind of where you want the activism to happen. So
yeah, exactly. It's so weird because, well, maybe not weird, but what's going on in these factory farms and whatnot, it's horrible. It's scary. It's it's sad. It makes you want to cry. And most people, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yet they're still paying into it every single day with their food choices and whatnot.
Yeah. Put
So
anybody in there and they'll come out a totally different person. I
yeah,
don't care
right.
who you are.
It's almost
Like,
crazy. It's almost crazy that they have people who work in those factories and do that. Like, I
yeah.
mean, they must pay them 6 figures a year or something, or crazy amounts of money, because I don't know how people can do that.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do that.
Well, even on the
Right?
island here, a lot of people, when you talk about that, because we're such a small island, and there's a lot more like smaller farms, local
Yeah.
stuff. It's not really like factory farming that we see on these documentaries. You might have to go a little further out, Ontario and stuff, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
before that. But so people are just more prone to be like, oh, that doesn't happen here, and all of the meat and a lot of the stuff that's animal products that are sold here, or a lot of it comes from the island and stuff,
Yeah.
especially that beef and whatnot. But there's still tons of like eggs and other meat and stuff that comes from Maple Leaf, which is in like Ontario and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But regardless, I had spoke to a guy that I was doing roofing in the spring, and he I just happened to talk to him, and I kind of mentioned the vegan thing and whatever. And he was like, he wasn't vegan, but he started agreeing with some of it. And he
Mm-hmm.
said that he actually worked at a slaughterhouse on the island here, which, I mean, doesn't matter what slaughterhouse you go to, they're all the same, right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just the process before it could be different
Yeah.
wherever you are, right? But he worked at the slaughterhouse, and he told me it was nuts. Like, he had to like, bolt gun these cows or whatever animals, and he had to like do all that dirty work and the blood and all this stuff. And he did say that it got to him after a while, and he was like, I just don't know how one can do that for a living or for a long time, like, it was just too intense.
Wow.
And to me, like, I'm not trying to judge somebody, but he didn't seem like somebody that was like overly sensitive. Like, I don't know. I guess there's no point in me saying that. It just what I got, the vibe
Yeah.
from him.
Right. Right.
I just thought he would have been a guy that didn't really care about that stuff and would have
Right.
been fine with whatever. But he was telling me that it was like pretty intense, and you really have to like desensitize yourself from it and really like take your mind away from what you're doing.
Right.
And he ended up quitting there because he was just like, I
It's too
can't do
much.
this anymore. And
Yeah.
he actually said he went to a pig farm, and he said, oh, instead I'm just going to go work at the pig farm on the island, and instead of the slaughterhouse, I won't have to do any killing and all this stuff. I won't have to see the blood and whatever. Goes to the pig farm, and he said
Little do
that
you
it's
know.
it's almost just as bad, sometimes even worse, even though you're not at the slaughterhouse. He said all these pigs on this island, which a lot of people don't really even would even think that it's happening here,
Mm-hmm.
but because they think, oh, the pigs are probably free roaming outside and stuff. But there is farms on the island that pigs are stuck in the little cages and they can't turn around. And he said that, these pigs are, you can see they are depressed, they're getting aggressive because they can't eat. All they can do is like stand and sit down and stand and sit down. And of course the little piglets and stuff, a lot die, to get crushed or whatever. And like, but one of the things he said was they have to inject or give them pills, I can't remember, in their food, antidepressants
Oh.
to the pigs. So you can imagine how many medications and like antidepressants that
Right.
have to be sourced to these farms to give to the animals because of the condition that they're in.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there.
That's
And I
crazy.
mean, how do you not know that's going in them? Then you're getting, a byproduct of those antidepressants in
Right.
some way, or just the fact that they have to do that.
It's horrible.
So he was basically saying that it was almost just as worse, or just as bad or worse than working at the slaughterhouse, the shit that he would see there. So I was like, all right, well, like,
I
I
can't believe
really
Yeah.
appreciated that conversation, because I
Yeah.
was like,
Right.
wow, I never heard that from anybody. And to get it firsthand from somebody that actually did it and
That's
then said,
insane.
screw this, like this is
Right.
insane, but still eats meat,
It's
you
weird,
know,
right? It's weird.
but agrees
People,
and sees it to that side of things, you know, because he
yeah,
went through it.
I just don't understand it sometimes, Um, and I feel like it's so conflicting because there's a lot of people, especially in the meat heavy movements, where they're like, oh, eat pasture raised, eat grass fed, this and that, like the best of the best. Yet, in order to feed 8 billion people in the world, it's physically impossible to have it like that. It's impossible to have just animals grazing and pasture raised and all the best, right? Like it's more sustainable to have uh the factory farms and slaughterhouses and whatnot, which
Right.
is I mean,
Because they couldn't keep up with the demand, right? Or
exactly.
whatever it
Yeah,
is, you
right.
know?
They gotta keep producing, and you can't just be like, oh, it's gonna be okay, Johnny. It's gonna be okay, kind of thing, right? And like it's like they're your pets, that's like they're your friends, it's
Yeah.
just it's more or less
Yeah.
you gotta get and go, but that's crazy, dude.
I mean, there's only, yeah. I mean, I was just kind of mind blown. I was like, heck yeah, like this guy
Yeah,
went through it on the island, which I was the most like excited about to hear,
right,
not excited about the animals, but like,
right,
excited to hear that from somebody, and
yeah,
he's seen it in this way, right?
right,
Regardless if he still ate meat or not,
yeah,
that seed was still planted, right?
right.
But yeah, it was nuts. I was going to say something, I forgot.
Nah. It's a good. So I wanted to get your thoughts, kind of like in the same area here. I guess more on but it's more like on vegetarianism.
Hmm.
So eggs, dairy, cheeses. What else? I guess that's pretty much the main three, right? Uh, no meat. Would you say that it's moral or ethic for somebody to consume that if they go to if they go to like a local farmer or whatnot and they get it from them versus just going to Walmart, or your
Right.
local grocery store, from like an ethical standpoint, from a moral standpoint, how would
Right.
you, like, what would you have to say about that? Not that
Right.
in general that it is moral or ethic for any of it, uh but you get what I'm asking?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I would say, like, honestly, if somebody's gonna eat even like meat, or like you said, that you're talking about vegetarian, so eggs or milk or
yeah,
whatever, um of course, if I know this person doesn't really care about going vegan, and they just, or maybe they do, but like they're just having a hard time, like I would say to anybody really, just to shop local. There is people on the island or wherever that maybe
yeah,
have smaller farms, and of course the animals still go in that same slaughterhouse, but they're not factory farmed, and they're not from God knows where else, right?
yeah,
They're
right, getting
supported
shipped.
local. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
would say, at least if you're not going to make the change, support those people. And a lot of people,
right,
oh, it's a bit more expensive. It
right,
is, but you can eat a little bit less as well. You don't need to,
yeah,
make a few bit more vegan meals, but
yeah,
the
right,
least you can do, if you're not gonna
right,
stop eating animals, is go support local, because then at least it kind of slows down the whole animal
yeah,
factory thing, and it
right,
kind of kills it off in some sense,
hmm,
but like that's just if you don't want to make the change,
right.
but
Well, I have a friend who was vegan. It's so weird because I feel like like a lot of the ex-vegan talk, it's important to bring up. And I see it all over Instagram, not really on Twitter, but I see it on YouTube a lot.
yeah.
And I mean, heck, look at AJ, right? And even friends from college who I had who were vegan, none of them are vegan anymore. And it's interesting getting their perspectives and stuff. But I had a friend who actually had him on the podcast, Fitzgerald Robertson.
Yeah, I
He
listened to
was,
that one.
yeah, he was a really smart guy. He's going to Princeton right now for the seminary school. It's really cool. He showed me a picture. Not actually to show you a picture. It was in person. So at the seminary, they have a farm it's owned by the seminary. It's called the Farminary. So it's like a rhyme, it
Okay.
goes hand in hand with the seminary.
Right.
Whatever that phrase is called, a simile, or I don't know, or hyperbole, whatever that is.
I won't even try.
Yeah. I guess I could look it up, but
Yeah.
so they have chickens at the Farminary, and he brought some of those eggs home from the hens, whatever, that the hens laid, or the chickens laid. But they actually do have chickens that they do slaughter, and there's like a process they go through maybe like once a month or something. And he's actually went to that and has been there for that. And it's weird because sometimes people who do that, they actually say that they care more about their food if they go watch it and they see it live, and they actually have like a better not only understanding, but like maybe like more love and for their food, kind of, more appreciation. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then right, so then there's a farm in the area, I think it was, or whatever, nearby somewhere, where these chickens were, it was actually like a like a legitimate free range farm. Like the chickens, they had like tons and tons of area and land where they can roam and they could be free and I guess you could say enjoy their life, whatever. Just a better environment, where you'll see it on Netflix. There's a documentary where they're saying like, oh, it's free range, and the chickens, here's the, like, here, let me try to get a better for the video. Here's like the opening to the door, and there's like a little fence right here, and that's what they're saying is free range. You can go outside for like 2 feet and that's it. So, but these are actually legitimate free range chickens. Now, he has an egg from that actual free range and then an egg from the Farminary, and he cracked it, he put it in a bowl, and it's like insane to see the difference in the egg yolk in like
much darker, eh?
Oh, way darker. It was like this bright, or it was like a dark, but it was also like bright too,
like an orange. Yeah,
exactly.
almost like neon.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like the other one's just like yellow, orange though. So, and you once, like you said, you got to pay a little more. Same situation here. You got to pay a little more for the egg, but if you want the better egg, that's
at least it's probably better quality as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be healthier as well.
Yes, right.
We want people to be healthier as well,
right.
Whatever choice they make. But
right. So yeah, that always, like, that ever since being up there, it just kind of stuck with me,
Right.
But
I know I know one of them, but there's 2 people that have free range chickens. My brother went and got eggs from them.
Yeah.
And he showed the exact same thing.
Oh,
the difference
really?
between yolks, but they were both fully free range.
Yeah.
Except that one of the farms, they eat like chicken feed, like soy and corn or whatever it is. And the other ones were really just more organic. Like they just picked bugs and stuff. They weren't really fed like chicken feed and stuff.
Yeah.
But they were both free range. It was just the matter of basically what they ate, and that as well, like that made a difference in the color of it too. So
right. That's crazy. Crazy. So speaking of like the vegan stuff, because I think it's like a really important topic and needs to be talked about. Even AJ, and this maybe it's not too personal, I think I can share, but he showed me a picture of like what he looks like being vegan versus like what he looks like now, and he has put on weight. And if people who have watched the podcast, I mean, you can see him, his face does look fuller, and that's like what he wants. And he like hates fruit, but he even told me recently, he's like, dude, fruit actually feels good in my body now, so
right.
Now I still think there's like a lot of factors in his situation where where he did some stuff and how he was eating and whatnot may have been the best.
Right.
But I I just think that with a lot of it, they're just it's I wouldn't say it's like bullshit, but like I think that you really got to take each individual and look at what they're doing and be like, hey, like you shouldn't be doing that. You know, you should be like, try this, try that, like give recommendations, but they all want to blame it on one thing, right? They all want to
Yeah.
blame, someone staying up and getting 5 hours of sleep a night, 4 hours of sleep, and they're partying every weekend, but they're blaming their health issues on veganism,
Yeah.
right? So, and then they'll say, "Oh, meat saved me." No, like you changed your lifestyle, and that's what saved you. It wasn't the meat.
Yeah.
Like you can still feel great, and you can still be all about feeling good. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just didn't know if you had any thoughts on that. If you,
Yeah.
just like what you see on the internet and whatnot. If you wanted to share some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, it's kind of like a not really a touchy subject, but it's kind of individual, because
Yeah.
you'll see some people that they go to the extreme, they're
Yeah.
like dry fasting for long and lots of, water fast or juice
Yeah.
fast or this and that. And you can kind of tell that, okay, maybe it's not the best. Like if you don't really have health issues, you're just jumping into the, you know, fad of healing your body.
Right.
And
Right.
I
Right.
think I think it's like a thing, like it makes sense. I think you can heal from stuff, uh, but if you don't really have any known issues, maybe it's not the best.
Yeah.
And if you just kind of do it without talking to somebody that has more experience, it's not the best. um but again, like I said, there's some people that go extreme and hurt themselves over it, and then they
Yeah. Right.
decide to just go straight off the vegan thing and go right to meat, and then they feel
Yeah.
better. It's
Yeah.
like, of
Right.
course, because regardless what you were doing, you were depriving yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I think, but then there's some people that maybe they do eat lots of good healthy vegan food, and maybe their body is just slightly different. They have a hard time putting on weight, and but sometimes I question, like, we don't know fully what they do during the day
Right.
and what they eat. So without really knowing that, we can only speculate, oh, well, they probably weren't eating enough calories. And that's
Yeah.
what a lot
Right.
of people do. Oh, you probably weren't doing this. You probably weren't doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, well, we can't really
Right.
go out and say that out to
Yeah.
somebody
Exactly.
when we
Right.
don't know. Like, we would have
Right.
had to like follow them around for the last year of being vegan.
Legit. Legit.
And then maybe we would know, like, okay,
Right.
I feel like they were doing this wrong, or they could have done this instead,
Yeah.
But other than that, most people that may, go off the vegan lifestyle, we don't really know fully. Like, they shared a bunch of stuff, but
Right.
most of the stuff that's shared is
Right.
not like what you're fully doing. But again, even if, let's say, somebody was doing it just as good as somebody else that was at the gym and he was building muscle and stuff like that, and he's gaining weight, maybe the other person is not gaining weight, and
Yeah.
maybe could be some sort of health issue that's kind of putting a wall there for them. And or it could just be that they're kind of body type, or just the way they are. Some people a little bit different, that they might need a little bit of something else that most people are not, putting into their body or not doing to kind of bridge that gap for them. But
Right.
I mean, really, it's hard to really know fully. But and I myself, like, I see that happening, I kind of want to speculate, oh, well, I wonder if they were doing this or that,
Yeah. Exactly.
just because if something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for them. So you
Right.
kind of just, you can't really do anything unless you really fully know what this person have done, and then you can maybe have a better idea of like
Hmm.
what they could have done.
Totally.
But other than that, I mean, I think for some people, maybe just, I don't know, like, if it doesn't resonate for you, like, where does that come from? Like,
Yeah.
they could still be like, oh, I care so much about the animals still, but, and they kind of still see that side of things, but something else has come over them to be stronger than that. to take them over to, eating meat again. So
Right.
I don't know what does that. Like it's
I
it's
mean,
such
you'll
a
right. Well, you'll still hear it. You'll see like people who like they were the hardcore vegans and animal activists, and they did this, they did that, and then they go back to eating animal products.
right.
It's like it's so weird. In my opinion, I just think it needs to be talked about. It needs to be brought up, just so we can
Mhm.
all learn from it and be better.
But
So
but there is lots of people, because of the whole vegan movement going on, and it grew so much and all this stuff. Now you're starting to see all these carnivore people on
yeah,
YouTube, and
right.
more people going against the whole vegan thing. And sure, whatever, like you do you. Like I'm not saying
Yeah,
that that's wrong or unhealthy. You look healthy, and hopefully what you're saying is true, and that you are actually feeling healthy. And I don't think a lot of people can still be healthy eating animal products, I'd
yeah.
say,
I agree.
to some degree. I don't know. Maybe I always leave the possibility that maybe it is slightly healthier to be eating animals. I don't know. But for me and
Yeah,
how I feel, and with the information I've gathered and the amount of people that are doing it,
right.
it makes more sense that it's healthier on this side. But I think there's a transition where there was not a lot of vegan people. We did, for hundreds of years eat meat, and there was not really such thing as like
Right.
some days or some weeks maybe there was barely any meat, and there was more like almost plant-based. And
Starch and
you
fruit and
know
whatever, nuts and
it's
seeds. Yeah,
only in the last like whatever 20-30 years. I mean, even 40 years ago it was very small. There was some vegans, but it wasn't really talked about.
right.
Maybe it was just as big, but because we have social media now and there's more people speaking about it.
Yeah.
But for sure there's more vegans nowadays that there was 40 years ago in the world.
Hmm.
But so I always leave the possibility that I could be wrong, that my lifestyle could maybe be deteriorating my health a little bit. I don't know. I don't feel like it. And
Yeah,
with the
right. Yeah.
information I know and the information I've gathered, it's convinced me that this makes the most sense,
Totally.
and I agree with it and whatnot. But there's a lot of times I still agree with maybe the other
What they
side
have to
if I
say.
talk
Yeah.
to yeah, with my
Right.
brother or somebody that's talking about stuff.
Right.
Um but it's still yeah. So I basically just leave the possibility that I could be wrong. But again, like, and that's why a lot of vegans too, I was going to mention that earlier, like, because of the YouTube videos and people carnivores and all this different information that's basically going against, not going to say against veganism, but on the opposite spectrum.
Right.
People are starting to watch that, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden it resonates with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I could binge watch a bunch of carnivore people and all
Yeah.
these things, and all of a sudden something switches. The same way I went vegan, it's just I never thought about it, of any
Right.
of it before. So
Right.
for me it was like boom, all this information is like, whoa, it makes sense, let's do it. And it doesn't mean that I can't be convinced that, okay, that makes a lot of sense, it's starting to resonate with me. I think veganism is not the best, and I'm going to go the other way, which is probably what happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, a ton of
you
people for
know
sure. Right.
they've received this information that all of a sudden they might feel like they're lacking in a small part somewhere, and they're unsure if they're getting enough of this, or maybe
Right.
they've hit a wall somewhere at the gym, and they feel like, oh, that's going to give them the extra edge, and just that convinces them to go over to
Right.
start eating meat again. So it's just the way it is. But
Yeah.
I guess it's what you feel is best in the moment, and hopefully you're not just, I guess I should say, swayed in a different way that is is unhealthy for you. Hopefully
Right.
it feels right anyways.
Right.
That's the main thing. It's all we can wish for or hope
Yeah,
for.
exactly. Because your health is what's most important. You got to focus on
Hmm.
you and what you need and what's best for you. And I guess it is unfortunate, but for some people, it's it's going the other way.
Hmm.
Because of, and I don't want to say it's veganism, but it's the destruction that they caused to their own body by the choices that they made, you know. But everyone wants to blame veganism when it's actually their self. It's them who made those choices, who
Right.
made those decisions, yet they blame this way of living and this ideal, right?
Right.
Which is just it's
Almost like
sad.
there was nobody doing veganism that's healthy and living
Yeah,
a
right.
fulfilled life, that's, winning competitions and athletes and all these
Exactly.
things. They blame it on that, but it's like, but you do realize that there's thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people that are, that are doing this, and have done it since day one, some from birth, and
Right.
some that just started and they're healthier than ever.
Yeah.
They've healed themselves from all these chronic diseases. Like, you can't
Mm-hmm.
just blame it on veganism.
Yeah, exactly.
Just you do agree at the same time, they probably do agree that all these people are living healthy and stuff, that you can't
Yeah.
just be like, oh, because it didn't work for me, all these people are actually unhealthy,
Yeah,
they're not doing it
exactly.
right,
Exactly.
they're,
That's what they
they're gonna die.
say.
Like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It
right. It's
goes
all
both
bullshit.
ways,
It's all pseudoscience. All the plant-based doctors, they're lying
yeah.
to you. And it's like they look great. They're doing healthy. It's all good.
Yeah.
There was something you mentioned there. I wanted to bring something up. But it lost my tongue. Cool, dude. Well, I've had a really awesome conversation with you, dude. Like, it was great. Would love to have you back on the show. You had a lot of meaningful statements, meaningful words, deep thoughts. It was really great sharing this space with you. Did you have any final words that you want to say? Maybe about veganism, about activism, about raw, about working out, anything. This is free space to let it rip.
All I gotta say is basically just, look at the information that you want to have, whether it's exercise, food, or anything mindset. I've been huge lately on listening to Andrew Huberman, and he's big in a lot of different things, and there's just
Yeah,
so much to learn. And he's a scientist and stuff, and I don't know, it's been just opening my mind on different ways. And I
right.
think just basically follow what you love, and just find the information that resonates with you, and just follow
Exactly.
that and try it out.
It's good.
So a lot of people are just kind of like sitting around. Yeah, they hear that, and I mean, it all depends. We don't all have the motivation sometimes to get up and go do this. Like,
Right.
I do it all the time, where I'm like, I want to meditate more, I want to do more breath work, but
Yeah.
somehow it
Me too.
always slips my mind. And
Right.
like, I do it for a week and then I stop for a month, and it's like, wait,
Right.
what am I doing? But in the end, just the best is just do whatever you can to stay positive and smiling. And that's all
Exactly.
I can say.
I love that, dude. I love that, man. And that's what it's about, dude. You never know what a smile is gonna do for somebody.
Yeah,
And
more hugs too, more hugs.
yeah, yeah. Hugging is great.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I love just giving random compliments to people and hyping them up and stuff. And I do mean that. Like, I mean what I'm saying to them. Like, oh, dude, like your hair looks good, or hey, man, I like what you're wearing, or I like that hat and whatnot. Like, it feels good getting a compliment like that and being positive and
Yeah. Well, you can feel that energy move over, and it's
yeah,
kind of like a bit of an exchange.
yeah, exactly,
you
exactly.
know
So it's
yeah.
all good, man. It's all good.
Awesome. Also, and thank you very much for having me on. It was
Yeah, of course,
super
dude.
fun.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll definitely do this again for sure. Maybe next time AJ will be here.
Yeah.
And we can all talk about chickpeas and have a debate about chickpeas and stuff.
Chickpeas and mangoes.
Oh, that's funny, dude. That's funny. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, Richard, great stuff. Follow him on Instagram, all about feeling good. And I think you have another account too. PE something. Is that what
Oh yeah, I started it a while back. I haven't been too active, but it's PEI vegan guide. So I'm just
Okay.
trying to
Prince
post
Edward Island
different
vegan guide.
things
Yeah.
about, yeah,
Nice.
just to show everybody what's vegan around here. And
yeah, for sure. It's great. That's great. And that's making
yeah.
it sustainable for yourself and for everyone else around you. So look at the impact you're having, dude. That's really good. I'll make sure to put his pages in the YouTube comment section, or whatever it's called, the description box.
Right.
And you guys can follow him. You can chat with him. So yeah, cool. Well, guys, that's it on the Hungry Real podcast. MP and Richard checking out. Stay up, be great. Always keep it 100, baby.
Peace.